All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Top Corner Football Podcast, episode 35, I believe. 35. Good God. Top Corner Football Podcast.
5 days of recording now.
For all of your match breakdowns, news, transfer rumors, table conjecture, and all the shit that you say in your car on the way to work each morning, we're here to do that for you as well. Jordan, how you doing today?
Yes, I'm good, brother. Everything good. We got a lot.
We need new chairs in the studio. This chair,
it's gunky.
It's an unsavory sound. And it just started last episode, I think, so I'm going to have to work with it. So, sound guy, our sound engineer, sound bitch, he'll need to fix all that. Anyway. Yeah, so how are you doing?
Great, potentially.
Potentially great. What holds you back from being great, potentially?
100%. Nothing really. It's just a day, one of those days.
You got to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
You went to guitar lessons today, didn't you?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Pretty cool.
What'd you learn? You learn anything, or just kind of go over the old stuff?
We started doing like the actual I think we're getting into more bluesy. We started doing some riffs on BB King. So
we played guitar together this past weekend. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, pretty cool.
You were surprisingly good, man. You started playing along to some melodies that were being presented to you, which in your lessons you haven't gotten to that point yet. Yeah. So just kind of laying down some bass grooves, and you were holding on to it, man. It was really cool to see.
I know. I'm like, man, I need to get all of these things together so I can actually, start headlining.
Hell yeah. See, that's the tricky thing is the headlining.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal, I guess.
Well, it's a good goal to have. It's a good goal. It's a popular goal to have. A lot of guys want to headline.
Yeah. How about I just jump the line?
Yeah, you're just gonna cut in line and just subvert everybody.
All right, guys. There's a lot to talk about in the football world.
There's a lot to talk about. First thing that we need to talk about.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and get some round of applause for our Academy Awards segment, which is coming up a little over a month from now, or a little under a month from now. June 10th.
Yeah, June 10th.
June 10th.
Not that far.
So we've got. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have some year-end awards.
Yeah.
Modeled after the Academy Awards. So we'll have best player in their positions, blah blah blah. But like our ballots are gonna have to go out, and we're gonna have to understand which leagues, and we're gonna kind of talk about it a little bit live.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of stuff to talk about it.
Because it can't just be all of the world. I don't think.
No.
Because the Academy Awards are predominantly in the U.S. with one international category, but although certain people can get in.
Yeah, probably. Like I said, like we think about it, it's gonna be a good show. It's definitely gonna be entertaining.
And you're gonna wear a suit, right? Because I'm wearing a suit.
Yeah, I might have to pop on my rugby suit, one of the suits.
Yeah.
I might show up here looking like James Bond after.
You're getting all beat up. I'm gonna look like H.P. Lovecraft. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna look like fucking Dracula, fresh out of the coffin.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, and I imagine it'll only really encompass the top 6 leagues in Europe.
That's what I'm thinking too.
England, Spain, Germany, Italy, France, and Portugal. Because they could, in theory, they could sneak someone in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna put out the ballots of like best club, but like best run club, best team, and then best players in their positions, best MVP for which leagues. It'll be fun. We're gonna have a lot of things. We might actually even have some little plastic trophies to hand out to nobody, to the ether of the internet. We'll just toss them down on the floor in the studio and act like it's being given to somebody. Take it, go home.
Yes, sir. Yeah. All right, guys. If you haven't heard it, I guess you just
clean your fucking ears if you haven't heard it. Everyone's heard it by now. I actually don't even know what you're talking about.
Let's go to the news on the rumors.
Oh shit! Okay.
Unai Emery is extending his contract. It's rumored to extend his contract at Aston Villa until 2027 per David Austin. It makes a lot of sense, man. If you've seen the Aston Villa team playing, actually, I do think in my mind, the way they playing, they keep this next year, there will be a strong confidence to the top 3. Yeah, because the race this year they got in the low late. But
yeah.
you can see what they could achieve.
Well, and it looks like, I mean,
Liverpool could have even beat them today.
Yeah, well, and so we actually were talking about that because last time that I checked, getting over to the studio, it was 3-1, and I was like, shit, okay, well, that's pretty straightforward. And then you were like, they drew. I was like, that must have been very recent, and it was like what 85th and 89th minute goals from the same guy as well, which actually I need to watch more Aston Villa.
It sounds like that's gonna be the team to watch next year.
I agree.
Provided they keep this same energy.
Yeah. And Duran came on late as well. Duran came on in the 79th minute to then bag the 85th and 88th minute goals. That's pretty wild. If he'd been out there the entire time, that's one thing. But you come out and within 10 minutes you bag 2 goals and tie it back.
Happy for the guy though. He's reinventing himself with this Aston Villa team. So it all proves that sometimes you need to trust people and give them have a little faith in them, although things didn't work out for him at the previous clubs. But the way it's going, it's what was that, the Phoenix?
Yeah, well, and it's like it doesn't work out for him, but he wins silverware, he wins in Europe a lot, and so it's like he kind of bounces around from team to team before it feels like he's done everything that he needs or wants to do. Yeah. But it's not really a bad thing because he continues to go through places and continues to bag trophies. This finally feels like a destination place for him, though. Because this feels like the place that you do want to sign to, and you already said it. He's signing until 2027. Yeah. That gives him time to build. That gives him time, not necessarily to even, I mean, he'll have more money at Villa than he's had other places.
This is small.
But he knows how to use less money anyway. It's not really, he has more options. It doesn't mean that he's going to spend more risky or poorly, because he's got a very good track record. This is the perfect club for him.
This looks more of his highly. I'm thinking this might be one of those things where he built a mid club to a super club. Yeah. And I think that this probably what should have been Unai Emery. And this is, like you said, is the perfect thing because he's actually building his own culture of football, how he wants the players to play. So this is really important, and it's really good that he signed to 2027, just so he can actually mold it and keep a standard where this is a competitive club. Man, I'm so it's crazy because looking at football the past years, man, things have changed so quick, so fast. Yeah, the big guys that used to be big and and every single years you will have like one little guy popping up. Yep. It's not it still is, but it's different where the little guys that pops up stays. Yeah. I mean, it's not more like we just pop up and leave.
Yeah. I mean, at first it was kind of bright. A couple of years ago it was Brighton. West Ham got in there a little bit, but then they were almost in the relegation zone. What was it, 3 or 4 seasons ago? Yeah. Your prediction for West Ham top 6 is officially gone. We can finally. But Newcastle look like they're not going to compete for the title. They're probably not going to compete for another Champions League spot for a while. But with Newcastle and Villa really coming up, Chelsea and United really slowing down despite moving up the table very late in the season, neither of those clubs, Chelsea or United, really look like they're going to get back in that top 4 title, those Champions League spot races anytime soon, really. And it's really cool seeing Unai Emery because it's like he needs resources, but he knows how to stretch a dollar very well. But what he doesn't need is one of the mega clubs, Arsenal included, telling him what he needs to do. He seems to have a little bit more freedom, but as soon as he got that Arsenal gig, there were arguments with him at the top, of who he needed to buy, what needed to happen, a lot of mismanaged money, but that was also a very, very, very bad time for the club. Until Arteta's second or first season where they finished 8th. Yeah. Emery actually got them to a European final against Chelsea in 2017 or 2018. So it's like even when he had a bad season or a fireable season for a mega club, he got them to a Europa League final. Like, it doesn't make much sense how he's able to do that, but Villa looks like the great club for that. And also they are a club with history. Yeah. They're a mid-table club. Well, of late, of the last 10 to 15 years or so. But they were, in the 60s and 70s, they were a big club. Yeah, that's true. So it's cool to see a club that has that older history coming up again. Yeah. So
it's like, what's that club again? Even clubs like Nottingham Forest have a lot of history of back in the days. There was another club, man. It used to have, one like I'm talking proper British club. Some like white. They might be in championship now.
Well, Blackburn Rovers had a really good.
Yeah, Blackburn
they have a good history.
They have a good history, man. So,
yeah, we need those clubs coming back up. I always get like really hopeful for certain clubs to get back into the Premier League, even if statistically speaking, it's more likely that they will immediately go back down. But like, I'm sick of seeing Sheffield. I'm sick of seeing Burnley. I was excited to see Luton Town just because I wanted to see a couple of games at their home stadium because that stadium blows my mind. I love it so much.
Another thing is Leicester City will be back.
I don't want to see him back.
You don't want to see them?
No.
I want to see him back.
No.
But for one thing is for sure and two things is for certain. Jamie Vardy, he's got to be a legend of that club.
Yeah.
I'm talking about building him a statue or something.
He's going to be able to walk around town and just like everything's going to be given to him. He walks in the supermarket and just walking through the... I'll take that. Thank you.
Another thing, I don't know if this is fake news or this is real news, but like I said, if you heard fake news, you heard it from us. And if it was true, guess what? Still us. As things stands, neither Modric or Kroos will be at Real Madrid next season, claimed by a certain journalist. His name is Antonio Romero, and this is pretty popular in that scene. But what do you think about it? It's kind of weird because I know Kroos just had...
He had a 1 year.
It was a rumor, but
no, it was official.
Official.
I thought he had a 1 year extension.
Yeah, extension. So I don't know where all this is coming from.
So I think that it's two stories getting conflated, and I think that this guy might be trying to do this for some clicks. Although I don't think that he's completely wrong because of what I've heard as well. It's true that Kroos signed a 1 year deal.
Yeah.
And that Real wanted to step away from Modric a little bit more.
Yeah.
However, they did recently show a slight interest in re-signing Modric.
Yes.
But I think that Modric kind of said, I don't know if it was respectfully or not, I assume that it was, that if Kroos is going to re-sign and stay longer, then he'll leave.
Yeah.
But only one of us needs to stay, which I agree with at this point. This past season worked well with them together. Yeah. One more season from now, it should be one or the other because they're both rotation players now. But Kroos is still the starter, I think, of the two.
Especially the Madrid, they have so many CMs now, or midfielders. But I know I read at some point that Carlo Ancelotti wanted Modric to stay, but not as a player, but as a coach instead. So
and you hope that he would want to do that.
Yeah. So I was thinking, I don't know where all this forces are coming about, but
it might be a little too early for that. And don't get me wrong, I love when players turn around quickly and become coaches, and he has coach written all over him. There are certain players. Kroos does too.
Yeah,
there are guys.
Modric, I can
midfielders usually make really good coaches because they understand both sides of the ball, and they're usually the thinkers that dictate the pace of the game. It just makes sense. But it's like he might want to take a break for a minute. I mean, this guy's been running like a crazy person for he's 38.
Yeah,
he might want to take 2 or 3 years off and just watch from the couch.
Yeah,
spend time with the family. Like getting immediately thrown back into the coaching staff the year afterwards. Yeah. I don't know if I would want to do that. Because he's done everything that he needs to do. He's won everything he needs to win except for the World Cup.
Yep.
And I imagine he's not losing too much sleep over that. So I'd say, 2 or 3 years off, maybe 2 years off. Take 2 seasons off, and just relax with the family and recharge. Because you can't tell me that he doesn't need or want to recharge at all.
Definitely.
He's a human being. So
I think we're going to hear more about it in the next month to come. Because you know what? All the leaks will be done by May or end of May or beginning of June. So definitely when the Mercato opens, we'll hear all about it.
Yep.
Real Madrid to continue monitoring Trent Alexander-Arnold's situation at Liverpool. As it stands, that's just a rumor, but for certain it's been talked about. So this rumor might be a real rumor.
both he and Reece James have been known of who they want to replace, even though Vasquez just resigned.
Yeah.
But we actually said that they do still need someone like Lucas Vasquez in the back for rotation. But
nowadays you also need a really deep squad too. You can't just have 11 players that are all great and you have a squad that is not up to the challenge because they play a lot of games now and there's just too much.
And when teams like Madrid and teams like City, especially those two, make it to where if you're going to compete with them especially in Europe, your bench has to be not at the same exact level, but like you've got to have a less steep of a drop off from your starting 11 to the rest of your squad. And the fact is, I mean, you can look at Trent Alexander-Arnold all you want. You can look at Reece James all you want. Reece James has more injury problems than Trent. However, Trent does have a history of losing a couple of months from a season, almost every season.
Yeah.
So you need Vasquez in the back for that. Do you think that he is a better player? Who's the better player and who's better for the Madrid system, Trent or Reece James?
Both of them would do great, just because of the amount of freedom that Carlo Ancelotti let them. But I feel like in terms of combination, probably Reece James.
Really?
Just in but in terms of quick counterattack, Trent Alexander. Because that's what Madrid runs off.
And how
quick?
Yeah, that's true. How much of Reece James's injury issues do you think is part of the deciding factor for why they've cooled off and kind of went just for Trent?
Might be a lot though, because like when you look at Madrid right now, I don't think they can afford someone that's really injury prone.
Yeah,
especially how they run things, but they also got good rotation. Vasquez is out of contract this summer. You said, I don't know if he resigned or not, but Carvajal is also out. In 2025 actually. So he got some change left on his contract. But trying to figure out who are they going to go for the back, because they made it their mission to bring some of the best youngins in Europe, you know. And guys like Rudiger on that back line, so they'll definitely need someone that's consistent, because their back line is a little shaky sometimes. Yeah. But it's interesting that Madrid, that was so shaky in defense at the beginning of the year, just suddenly became good at taking pressure. That's just interesting.
Yeah, with players that actively, I mean, Carvajal stepping up, because he had a couple of bad games.
Yeah,
honestly, it was getting David Alaba out of the starting lineup.
Yeah,
unfortunately, because he's a great wing back. You know, he's a great fullback, but he did not take to moving into the center that well. And it's not the first. Casemiro's had a rough time with that as well.
The one thing the reason why I was saying, probably Reece James can do that too. But when you look at Madrid right now, especially how they run that counter-attack thing system going on, it looks like all of their players are really good at drop-dead passes. I'm talking from the goalkeeper to the back, everyone. So this quick counter-attack that surprises you can really come from a pass from anyone.
Yeah,
because you saw Rudiger, so that's what I'm saying. Someone that's also good on your feet.
Yeah, with like a one-pass link-up. It's not even the big chain reaction that builds up. It's like, no, it can come from one person, 1-2-1.
Because they got a lot of people that
put in the back.
So we'll see how that works. It'll be interesting to see if they bring you left back and right back, because that's gonna be.
Davies is pretty official. Davies is almost as official as Mbappe.
Yeah.
And so if you have either Reece or Trent on that right, take out the health concerns. Take it out completely. You talking about being able to link to a goal scoring opportunity with one pass. Reece and Trent are both very good at that kind of stuff. So
now I'm also wondering how they will run it. What system will do it? Because with having that amount of talent on the pitch, I don't know what system. I would be interested to see what's, because all of them are so talented that any system could work. But I would be really interested to see
if Trent is on the right and Valverde, because he plays more on the right midfield, and Tchouaméni kind of sits in the center. That kind of looks interesting, because Tchouaméni's able to kind of sit back a little bit more and absorb some of the defense, while Trent goes to explore a little bit more. And at that point, if Valverde is on the right in the mid, all of a sudden, because they've been running two attackers for a while. Now all of a sudden you kind of got like a right winger stepping up with Trent into the midfield and Tchouaméni kind of in this soft fourth defensive midfield area. I mean, you're covering all of your spaces pretty well, and you're allowing for a lot of creativity as well.
On transition, the team that will be able to absorb that attack will be top tier. This is provided the Real Madrid actually work as a unit. The opposition team or the opponent will be really interested how they can endure that attack for even 2 minutes, because like you said, if you have Trent Alexander going up. Then provided Mbappe is the shifting in.
Yeah.
Then you got Vinicius in. Then you got Rodrigo in. That's essentially players where the goal could come from anywhere.
And you're not sacrificing much in defense as well because you do have the defensive midfield coming out for coverage. So they can press you like that. Yeah. They can keep kind of assaulting you like that and not worrying that much about you countering.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of options there.
If I was Carlo Ancelotti, probably what I would do is doing somewhere, try to train the guys on how to gain press. The reason is because they are all young. They have the energy. Tremendous amount of speed. I'm talking about. You got most of the fastest player in one team, and if you put the Canadian guy, I keep forgetting his name. Alphonso Davies. You got Mbappe. Basically, you have all the speed merchant in one team.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting.
Vinicius, Mbappe. and Davies on that. And then I think people underestimate how fast Valverde is. He's not like a speedster, but I mean he can run
all day.
There's no midfielder that can allow him any space.
You know what's crazy? I feel like he's kind of like Edgar Davis in the sense where he can just run off of just pure lungs all day.
Yeah.
So going to LAFC, Giroud confirms Olivier Giroud that he will be leaving Milan. If you didn't know what Milan I'm talking about, I'm definitely talking about.
You're an idiot. Milan. Everybody knows. Listen to me, kids. Listen, I'm kidding. If you don't know, look it up and don't make the mistake again. I'm watching you.
What's going on? So he's going
turn in your homework.
LFC, in the MLS, and judging about it, so it's gonna be pretty soon because the MLS season is going on currently. So. You're excited for someone like Giroud? That's really good for him because what he did, everything accomplished pretty much what he could accomplish as a player. It's time to step back a little bit.
Yeah, the thing about these players coming to the MLS though, like I'm excited for him to. I don't know. I'm excited and I'm not excited.
Yeah.
I want to be excited for my domestic league. Yeah. However, it changes every couple of years, but like right now in this moment.
Yeah.
Each conference has one big club that real European royalty can go to. That's LAFC and that's Inter Miami. Neither one's Nashville, so I don't give a shit. I'm kidding. But, I mean, it sets a bad precedent for that. And, he'll be the 5th World Cup winner to play in the 2024 season when he makes his move there.
But do you think that the MLS should kind of restructure where if there's going to be such amount of... They might be older, but there's still great talent. There's still great football. They're like 2 or 3 good years of football, right? Especially playing in the MLS. Do you think?
I was gonna say they probably have more than that. They're gonna play in the MLS.
Yeah. Do you think there should be a restructuring where we can also equilibrate the amount of talent that's going in each conference? So because that would be a good move in terms of just financial, where people will want to go to. Let's say you are in Nashville and you have one of these players like Kroos or Modric.
Yeah.
It also increased the amount of ticket sales.
The way that the MLS, and I guess this is its own segment now, it's kind of writing itself. I think that the reason that the MLS is having trouble growing is because what we are trying to do domestically and what actually brings in viewership from Europe or casual viewers that do watch, because we have more Americans that watch the Premier League than watch our own league because they understand it's just a better quality league. What do you want? It's not rocket science. So you do have guys that know football that just don't watch our league. But we try to get a team in every fucking city in the country.
Yeah.
And then wonder why only 2 can really get anybody. Because no one's going to Minnesota. No one's and I'm not even being rude. No one's going to San Jose.
Hey, Alabama might get a team too.
And that's the worst thing that can happen. I don't even think that really Nashville needs one. I mean, like, we could go through an entire list of cities.
We got supporters too, though.
But look, so that we have 31 teams, 32 teams in this league. What, does everybody get one good player from Europe? Like there's a reason that they're only going to Miami. And like in LA, if you want more star power, you need less teams just in the bigger cities.
Yeah.
So that means, yes, you have less supporters in each city, but also right now you're not distributing the wealth at all. So you got like 2 big cities that have it all.
We might probably start a campaign so we can get a lot more viewers to the MLS. Just as a thing. We'll this last bit of news after we'll fall directly in the United Arsenal game and just talk about it. Manchester United really could relocate to London as they circle the drain. So
that's insane.
If you
I've not heard this yet today.
You know, if you watch the game, because it was raining that and it was pouring everywhere, and this was a meme everywhere, and a lot of people were like, "Well, Cristiano Ronaldo said this." You all blame him. Now it's time for you guys to take back every word.
Yeah,
he said this. He said the everything is all looking like when he was there, and there was no improvement. But they said
you saw the stadium leaking, right? Did you see that?
I saw the stadium leaking.
Did you see how much it flooded at the end of the game?
I saw how it flooded from the stands. Actually, it was running.
That looked so
proper flooding.
We have this water park in Nashville called Nashville Shores.
Yeah,
and they've got this big, huge fucking bucket, right?
Yeah,
and it'll fill up with water. And it'll finally tilt down, and it goes down on this metal tray with like a little lip on it, so it shoots up everywhere. It looked like Nashville Shores. It looked amazing. It looked like a water park. It looked like the entire corner. The entire corner was unseated because it was way too much.
If you look at this, I don't know if you probably can crop the picture when we are running the edit, and you can just post the picture when we're talking about the segment on that link. That picture is just wow.
Yeah, I'll have the picture and the video on there.
But
it's wild.
You guys look at it and tell me. But if you haven't,
it looks like we need some renovations. I think the roof needs to be replaced a little bit.
They need to rebuild the stadium, especially for a big club with so much history. Because we're talking about, in terms of just as a club, we're talking about the biggest club in England, and in one of the biggest club in the world.
Second biggest club in the world, I think.
Yeah,
truly.
In terms of sales and whatnot.
Yeah.
You're talking about Manchester United. You at this level or this time, you should have a stadium close to comparison to like Santiago Bernabeu. Even Tottenham has a better stadium than
even the Emirates. Even Arsenal with the Emirates.
So that's just crazy. But Arsenal United, what did you think about the game? And it ended up 1-0. One thing I would say, first of all, I think the United played kind of well in a sense, because I was thinking Arsenal will destroy them.
Yeah,
but Arsenal play a little conservative.
We've had that, and we've had that conversation too. It's like, even when United are not playing well, that the 1-0 result didn't surprise me. I've said that they are kind of, because they are the fallen giant, they kind of have taken this role of like giant killer, of like, we're nowhere in the contention for the league, but at any given moment.
We can remember we were once United.
We can't put 4 wins together back to back, but I'll tell you what, any of the big 6 that come to us, we might be able to put one over on you, because we can play well for 90 minutes when we want to. And I don't know if that's an issue with the players or the staff or both. I think it's both. But
I would say this though. At this time of the year, in last year, Arsenal would have lost these games. I'm just saying that at least there's some sort of lesson learned from last game, from last season. As far as the last games of the seasons are concerned. And the only thing is that if you don't understand how great Arsenal is doing, I will tell you they have more wins than the invincible season of 2004-05. So
that was always the biggest criticism of that accolade, was that count the draws. Count the draw, because a draw is still not a win. Like, you didn't lose, but you can't win the league by drawing a bunch as well. And so,
but in another era where City was in City, Arsenal is winning the league. Just that City has set the precedent, the expectation of everyone in the league and everybody around so high that 99, 100 is like the new thing.
And it was said at the end of last season as well, if City didn't play like they are right now, Arsenal would be back-to-back Premier League champions this year. They would have won last season as well, despite having that slump off at the end. But that's just a testament of how City are playing, because they did not have. They're going to win the league this season,
Definitely.
And they did not. How many outstanding performances did they have?
That's true.
They didn't have that many outstanding performances. I don't remember watching them at a single point this season and saying, that is an unstoppable Man City. Whereas I've thought that many times over the last 4 to 5 seasons. Like, absolutely unstoppable. There's no way.
Yeah.
Everyone could have stopped these guys at some point, but they just did not.
111 goals this season. That is crazy. So, just saying, these guys are really, really killing it. But, things are what they are. Now, there's the issue of Casemiro. Everybody blaming. Now it's more of a scapegoat thing.
Right.
In a sense,
it's unfair.
I wouldn't say scapegoat as in scapegoat, but first of all, you don't rotate player out of position when they get a certain age.
Yeah.
This is not when he's 22. When some people were like, where? Since he's playing as a CB, he has to learn how a CB play. Well, you don't learn that at 32.
You don't learn that at 32, but also, I mean, he's used to a midfield role. It's different if you are. I mean, you can even say David Alaba, but he didn't transfer well either. Yeah. But if you are a fullback transferring in, at least you had a defensive role.
That's why. I think Rio Ferdinand was saying that just play him at his position, and you could shift Wan-Bissaka in. But another thing is, they say, well, everybody was injured. You had the young guy. What's his name? What's his name?
Kabwala. Yeah.
Just play him there.
Just play him.
If the guys are injured, you go in your youth team. Just pick out the CB there, so at least you can maximize your chances instead of rotating someone A that don't have pace, B, that don't understand how the backline is supposed to be moving, because when the backline moved up, because he doesn't understand the dynamics of playing as a center defender in that backline, Trossard was onside. Now
miles onside.
Because
he spent his entire career winning trophies playing in the midfield with someone always behind him.
Yeah.
So it's second nature to.
He's not thinking. Now they say, well, I can understand. I would say 30% of the fall. When there's as soon as Trossard, who send that? I mean, who give that pass? Is it Trossard?
Havertz sent it into Trossard.
Yeah, Havertz. As soon as Havertz had the ball, also Evans should have closed space. They just looked at him coming in. Without closing space. So
Evans is like, I'm not quick enough to do this either. That's the issue.
Yeah. So there's just a lot to talk about than to blame only one player.
Yeah, I think that there's a really telling issue with injuries are one thing. I understand this. Klopp has had the same issues as well. But what you don't do is you don't just start playing a bunch of people out of position.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. You would rather have the youngster that's at least been in your academy that's used to that position than just moving because of someone that's won domestically in Spain and in Europe for fun. He's won Champions League titles for fun. Casemiro has, but not in that position. Just not there.
And the blame of him being lazy. Of course, I understand this season he's not playing as good as next season. But to be honest, like I said, United is not the blame of one person. It's just a thing where when nothing is working as a whole unit, no one can make a difference because everything is rotten. You can't make a difference on daily basis. I know we used to blame a lot Onana at the beginning, but now Onana is playing so good, there's no room to blame him now. You just got to look for another scapegoat.
Well, and because the issue with that as well was because, I mean, yes, a lot of the issues that were leading to those goal concessions were him trying to keep up a particular style but not having the pace in front of him. But he was also making individual errors as well. He cleaned up the individual errors.
Now they're still scoring.
They're still conceding goals, but at least he is not the single. There's no real goals anymore where it's like that was particularly your fault. Even if you're a part of the issue itself, there's so much happening around you that's not going well.
So do we think that Erik ten Hag is still the answer? I think we need to bring the United guy here. But do you think that Erik ten Hag is still the answer?
So two answers there, I guess. As a one as an unbiased lover of the game, and then one as the biased supporter. He is not cut out for the club at all. It showed that he has no real tactics implemented at any time. He's playing people out of position because he thinks that experience out of position is better than youth. and inexperience in a preferred position. But as an Arsenal supporter, I like seeing them in 8th place. I think that he's perfect for the club, and we should have him back again sometime.
Yeah, that's that,
keep him that lifetime contract. Keep him, please.
Wow,
please.
That is something. Well, I would just say they have to review everything. To be honest, like we've said this time and again, the whole team is up for review.
For review, for sale, for whatever you want to call it.
The whole team.
Exodus, get them all out.
I'm really interested to see what this summer will bring for United per se. What cleanups are going to be made. Who is leaving and who is staying. And to me, I think there's also a lot of management problem. Either I don't know. I just want to know. I'm just excited to see what will happen to United.
I think it's going to be a very interesting summer for a lot of clubs. A lot of things are going to be happening and changing hands. And I think that Chelsea and United, especially in England, because they need the most change, they'll be the ones that get the most change, you think.
Yeah.
You expect both lineups to be vastly different by the start of next season in August. You kind of expect both to have different managers by August as well. Whether or not they come out swinging and really hit their stride early on and maintain it, that's to be seen. But especially with United, like, they have so many players that need to go, but also, like, you can't just start replacing. You can't. I mean, like, there's not enough money, and like, some of these guys are gonna have to stay around. And it's like, who is gonna stay around?
That's the thing. And rebuilding is also a weird thing, because when you start rebuilding and the whole morale of the team goes up, even people that you thought weren't good start playing better.
Granit Xhaka, Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, like that. Where did that performance last season come from?
Just because. Morale has to do a lot. Mentality has to do a lot, especially for players that are physically fit but are not performing well. It's more of the mentality. It's more of morality. Their morale. Are they content or not? So sometimes it happens. And looking at the whole United, I don't think they are content. I know we're blaming Roy Keane. I was blaming Højlund that he will probably never be a top striker. I say he's wrong.
That's rude, Roy. Come on,
know,
Roy.
I say he's wrong. The reason he's wrong.
I agree.
First of all, there's no feed. They are not feeding him the ball, so he has to fend for himself. And you guys are feeding Rashford that 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 loses the ball. So that's just a thing. So
the three young players that show the most promise, you can see them having those sparkles in a game, but there's just too many people around them that are shooting themselves and each other in the foot.
So it becomes, and I'm really excited for this guy for going, because whenever I see him playing, he really does play very well. But when a team is not really good, even the guys excited to step up and show what they know, at some point they will feel like, hey, I don't think it actually works. Let's just play like everyone.
If I'm Kobe Mainoo, I'm like, hey, Thomas Partey's getting older. Send me over there, guys. Let me go. You guys get a brand new, fresh, spry, young 33-year-old Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
And I get to go actually play some nice defensive midfield.
All right. The thrill of it. The best of the best. The competition where every best of the best India domestic league meets.
And Dortmund.
and we see who actually is the best overall. We are talking about the Champions League, something that gives you chills whenever you watch it. Every game is just like watching gladiators. Every game you cannot predict who will win, but you know for sure Madrid will always come on top.
It's true.
It doesn't matter. That game was so good. But looking at this, it's kind of funny that the two teams in Germany that are nowhere near
their best
in the league are really good in Champions League.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. And I know some people don't really understand logic sometimes. They'll be like, well, if Leverkusen was there, they probably would have won it because they beat all those teams. That's not how it goes, guys.
No, but I mean...
but they would have done well.
I can see them
doing well.
Ecstatic to see... I mean, because Leverkusen's going to win that Europa League title.
Yeah.
They can't not.
No, they can't.
But I'm ecstatic to see how far that they actually get next season in the Champions League, hoping that no one change. Like I don't want to see no one in, no one out at Leverkusen. Everything down.
If you had to just give a blind guess, where do you think they will stop at?
I think that they would have seen their way out in the bracket. If they were on the bottom side of the bracket, they would have seen their way out by Madrid in the semifinals.
Yeah.
And then I think that, well, Dortmund plays so differently in the Champions League. But however, is them playing a German side the issue? Is that why they play like shit in Germany? Like maybe Leverkusen could have beaten them in the semifinals because they know how to answer that German club, and Dortmund can't do it. But could they play PSG for the first time ever? Like, you know what I mean? Like
tactics are also different. Like I said, and I said in that time again, when people and I think Thierry Henry also said this in Champions League, the smallest club becomes a freaking giant. Because there's so much at stake,
so many question marks around them as well. What are they actually gonna do here?
Tactics changes too. So I don't know that how. And there's also experience. People that have been here for a long time, they just know their way around it. It's like a maze they've been to every single time. They're like, you know what? This is where we take our left.
Yeah. Well, so, and then I mean, you're not playing a 38 or 34 game season.
Yeah.
You're playing over 2 legs.
Yeah.
We're talking about the knockout stages, not the group stages. And so I mean, that's where tactics change as well. I mean, Real Madrid play a little bit differently in La Liga than they do. In
La Liga, they take it's more open, but in Champions League, they have this weird thing where they can just take the pressure and find this. But watching the game, that Bayern Munich game, oh my goodness, Alphonso Davies coming in and just what a goal.
He was applying for a job, is what he was doing.
Yeah. He probably was like, hey, man, did you guys see this?
Yeah. You got my application, right? Sorry, it was in the mail, but I think that this kind of was a speed delivery.
I can do this for you anytime, any day.
Just say the word. Just say the word. Just give it.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder why he was on the bench. That's
Maybe he had some aggravation in training. I don't know. Who was
that might be the whole Tuchel thing.
Mazraoui. Yeah. Well, Mazraoui's actually been getting more minutes this knockout stage than Davies anyway.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I wonder why, but I guess like you said, he might have had something because I think he's probably because Mazraoui defends better.
Yeah, and also if you're a speedster player and you've got any sort of injury in your legs and your knees or wherever, that's immediately taking off a lot of what you have to offer. So you'd rather the speedster kind of be 100% than being kind of a detriment out there.
Man, you guys don't understand this story. This story is very, very interesting. Roselu, 2 years ago, went to watch the game. He went to watch Real Madrid in finals. 2 years after, he is in finals. How incredible it is.
With this 2 late goals. That was crazy.
This guy had to stand all over his career every time he played when he was in Germany. He was uninspiring at Stoke City, Newcastle. Then he went back to Spain. He played for Alaves and Espanyol. Then Espanyol going in 2nd division. Guess what? He is loaned to Madrid because Madrid is in search of a striker. They don't have a natural born striker. He gets in there and he played, I think this season, I don't know, I think he scored 17 goals all around or whatnot with less minute. And he is being put at the 81st minute. This guy's coming. And that's what I was saying. Arsenal needs a natural striker. You see what a natural striker does? They chase the ball. They know at any moment something might happen. People talk about New Year's. It was New Year's fault. It's a bouncing ball. Sometimes you don't adjust very well, But also the defender, it's also at fault because Neuer built them all games. You know how many goalposts Madrid hit that day? It was so many. At some point I thought, man, it feels like Bayern just sacrificed
well, and that's the worst part of being a keeper as well, is that like you can have a dozen saves on the night because your defenders left you hanging out to dry, but the one mistake that you make with a bouncing ball that at a certain point you can only do so much with, you're the one that takes the blame for that. But no one's sitting there back there going, Dude, Dyer and Kim, what are we doing? What are we doing with this? What is going on?
Vinicius just hit that ball. Joselu follows up, put it in. Then after, in search of another goal, in search of a win, because Madrid is the team you don't stay reluctant. You don't get lazy. The game ends when the referee blows the final whistle. And you guys saw, like I said before, Rudiger was really there's two performances that people don't mention: Vinicius and Rudiger. Rudiger had a lot of balls over that he kept crossing. He wanted this. He wanted this more. He wanted this, and guess what? The last cross coming from Rudiger out of nowhere. This guy is on the left. What are you doing there, sir? Because Rudiger is so he's so random. Because even at the end, he had the chair up. I was like, this guy is just random. But also, there was an error. Bayern, the ref shouldn't have blown that. It's a modern day error. You don't blow and you don't blow any foul on, because you can come back to the foul. But even if he hadn't done that, I don't think they would have scored. I'll tell you why. Just a theory.
Okay.
When he blows the whistle, Madrid players actually stop because they listen to the whistle. If you watch the action, then it's normal that because these guys are looking for the goal, they are submerged by emotions. They want a goal. They keep playing. But this guy have stopped. So I don't think if the whistle wasn't blown, they would have still scored because everybody would have been marking because they were actually in a constrained space.
I get that.
So I don't see how so in essence the referee is at fault, but I'm not sure 100% you guys will have scored that. So and this is one of the best referee. It's also sad because this guy, he ref the final of the World Cup last year. He's been really good, but one game, and I guess that's probably why he's not referee. He's not refereeing the Champions League final. But man, I'm excited to see what the final brings. Dortmund, Madrid. I don't think they've ever met in final. This is something. What do you think?
It's very two different clubs, so I'm not comparing Dortmund to Inter Milan in terms of stature. But it reminds me a lot of last year's final, where remember almost every step of the knockout stage, Inter was like kind of the underdog, and they kept going, and at a certain point you're like, well, fuck it, I guess you do have like a legitimate opportunity here. And ultimately City went over on that one. I kind of expect something similar here, where Dortmund got their way, every step of the way out of a very difficult group that a lot of people thought that they weren't going to get through, that they looked like they weren't going to get through. Especially when you didn't realize until the end that Newcastle was never going to actually show up in the Champions League. But yeah, I mean, you've still got to think that Real Madrid are the ones that come out on top. But there's something about that underdog that just, they never went down. That you really do want to, you want to see them win that, I think. Even though, and like, I've never really been excited by a Dortmund performance. And especially in this Champions League season, they're not playing well domestically, but it's one game. It's 90 minutes.
It's 90 minutes. But I've been really excited for when they play, especially when they play PSG. It was a whole different Dortmund. To be honest, the whole time I didn't really see the Dortmund. Until the PSG game.
That's true.
So,
that is true.
That's the way I saw Dortmund.
Well, because they were in the same group. And they didn't show that in the group stage either. So they figured it out. They're like, oh, this is our big opportunity. What I really don't like on paper, I really don't like Vinicius and Rodrigo holding with Schlotterbeck and Hummels in the back. That's not looking like a great matchup for Dortmund in terms of pace.
There's too much space. There's
a lot.
That's a lot of.
You
have to be very meticulous of how you manage spacing and not give them too much space in the back line, because as soon as they get that ball, especially on those deep passes, it's a wrap.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like that's where it's gonna really hurt, because I mean, a lot of the goals they've conceded this season, in both like domestic and in Europe, have been through Hummels.
But when you look at Dortmund or PSG though, they did a great job managing just because in a sense Dembele, Mbappe, they also have that speed. They do, but they did a great job managing that line.
And Mbappe and Dembele haven't been as consistent as Vinicius and Rodrigo have. Like, I don't know, like,
I see what you're saying.
Like, I mean, I get it, 8 goals for the Champions League and with Mbappe, yeah, but he kind of hasn't had any lights out performances in the Champions League, I don't think, at least. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Those names do mean something, but in terms of who's playing better as a unit, PSG are just not playing well as a unit.
I was confused though. I felt like that's true. I felt like but it's crazy. I feel like PSG kind of had a better performance. To be honest, I think PSG squad is the best squad since they started this whole campaign. I think they have a better squad now because in terms of players just playing their role and not being the senior, the gods, and it's just players playing for a system. It's better now because the whole campaign was more about a thing like a Galacticos 2.0, where players were more important than the team and the club itself. But even when you leave Mbappe out, you see more of a PSG. You can start seeing identity, which was a lack.
I do think that, yes. I mean, I agree that they seem to be playing more like a unit. That 2020 PSG with Verratti in the middle, I think that they miss Marco Verratti.
You think so? So I think so. They need someone like him
because he wasn't one of the guys, the big like look at me.
Yeah.
But he did a lot in the midfield, a lot of thankless tasks. He kept a lot of people in proper rhythm, and I think that they're a little too young.
Yeah,
I think that Vitinha is very good. I think that he might focus a little bit on being a little too flashy at times. Not necessarily as a way of saying like he wants to be the number one.
Yeah.
But just say like, sometimes you don't need all this flair.
Yeah.
You just need to move the ball up field. And Zaire Emery will be a great player. I just don't know if it's right now. Yeah. They need some maturity and some stability in the midfield, I think. I'm
excited to see what they will do next year though, because they have a lot of youngins. Actually, they have a lot of talent and young. I feel like this is a Barcelona squad because you got Ruiz, you got Ramos, you got Vitinha, you got Beraldo, Marquinhos, Hakimi, Dembele. That's been the last time I think since he heard Mbappe is going. He worked his ass off. Yeah. Barcola also has been playing well. I like Barcola. Kang In Lee, that guy is great. Yep. And you got Asensio that comes in rotation.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you had a Vitinha and then a Verratti, and then a Lee Kang in the midfield. Like, it's like you just need, their midfield's great. They just need that one older, mature midfielder, and the other guys can rotate out. And you can even rotate Verratti out. He doesn't need to stay every minute of every game. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Just someone to really hold the center of that park down.
Yeah. If you haven't watched the Champions League, go watch it, man. I'm telling you, the finals will be crazy.
Yeah. How are you here right now and you're not watching the Champions League? You should be watching the Champions League before you're watching us, idiots.
The finals will be crazy. Everybody, I'm talking about. This is the second most watched thing in the world in terms of sport, except for the World Cup. So the World Cup usually comes first, but the Champions League. Sometimes I think the numbers might be more than the World Cup because everybody's waiting this. The finals, everybody excited.
Yeah,
I am excited. You should be excited.
I had to turn down a paid wedding gig.
Oh,
because the guy was like, and it's the thing, you immediately know the date. He's like, I had a photographer drop. You want to get in on a wedding for June 1st? And I was immediately like, God damn it. No, yes, I do, but no, I can't.
Champions League is going on, man.
I was like, we're doing a watch along. It's the Super Bowl. It's literally the Super Bowl of European football.
We're watching the Champions League.
But ask me again some other day. Anyway, I was bummed. Like of all the times, for someone to drop a date, you dropped it on the Champions League finally.
Today, it's not really a play of the week. I want to give cheers and applause to Roselu.
Yeah,
put his picture. I'm excited to see stories like that. I really want to see what he's gonna bring to the final. Man, this guy is really, really applying for that bonus check. He's gonna get it. Pretty sure. My day is gonna send him a bonus check just for the fact that. But that's an interesting fact. Before we move on, guess what? As a sell-on fee in Jude Bellingham's sale from Borussia Dortmund to Real Madrid, the Spanish club agreed to pay Borussia Dortmund 5.38 million if they won a Champions League with Bellingham in his first season with the club. It's a
very particular clause.
Yeah, a further 2.1 million is due to Dortmund if the England star is selected in the UCL team of the season. A defeat So a defeat at the Wembley Stadium will net Borussia Dortmund at 24.2 million. A win will net them at 21.5 million. So if they lose the game, they get more money. Than if they win the game.
That is it. Wow.
Who even made this deal? We got that's the financial guy you want on your team.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, I've never heard of a sell-on clause like this in my life. It's like this guy knew exactly what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
He foresee the future and said this is what's gonna happen.
That is hilarious.
That is crazy. So do you think they're gonna sell the game? We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. So
that is really funny though. That's a good deal. That's good business.
Yeah, that's good business. I encourage everyone to go watch the game. If watch our podcast. If you don't watch our podcast, this is gonna happen to you. We're gonna be shooting.
Sorry,
everywhere.
guys.
Yeah,
had to be done.
Another thing.
I'd do it again if I had to.
Another thing is, go on. If you don't want to see our faces, go on our Spotify. We drop our show there. Go and listen to it. And
full episodes early.
On all the platforms, TikTok, Instagram, whatnot. But go watch our YouTube, man. We also have community engagement. Go comment. Go do what you want to do. Hey, come create some. Come stir up some discussion. We like it. We encourage all of you
to start
guys.
some bullshit. So I had a guy. I made a poll at the height of the popularity of is the Premier League still the best league in the world? And this guy goes, obviously. And I'm like, one, I agree with you. Like I agreed and I put my name next to it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, did you say this on everything? Did you say this on ESPN UK and FC? Did you go to True Geordie and say the same thing? Because they're all asking the same shit.
Yeah.
Obviously. Dork. I'm kidding. I'm glad you commented.
Yes, sir. Go watch our show and we will see you next week.
Bye.